Welcome to the Daily Journal's web series, Real Talk. My name is Pamela Powell, and I'm the film critic for the Daily Journal. Each week, a different guest and I will review and recommend, or not, a recently released film. So sit back, relax, and get ready to hear the real talk about this week's movie, which is The Water Diviner, starring Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe also took the reins on this one to direct his first directorial job as a full-length feature film. And he undertook quite a difficult task. This is a film about a war-torn area of Turkey in 1919. It actually starts in 1915 during the war. He plays the role of Connor, a father of 3 sons who have gone off to war and they did not return. And I knew I'd get a little choked up as I'm saying this review. It's an emotional film. He has lost all 3 of his sons. We jump forward to 1919, and his wife can't handle the fact that she has lost all of her sons, and she commits suicide. On her gravesite, he vows that he will bring back his sons to be buried next to her. And before I get too more teary-eyed on this review, it really is an emotional film about a father-son relationship and his love for his sons, as well as his connection to nature and his ability to want to do the right thing no matter what. And I'd like to introduce my guest today, Allison Beasley. Allison, thank you for joining us today on Real Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you and I talked about the possibility of reviewing Hot Pursuit or The Water Diviner, and we chose The Water Diviner. So tell me, are you glad that we did that, and tell me your initial impressions of the film?
You know, I saw it last night, The Water Diviner, and as I was sitting there and starting to get pretty emotional, I was starting to regret my decision and wishing I had seen the other film, but in the end, it really was it did pull at your emotional heartstrings.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a difficult movie to watch, but it was very, very good.
Now, the difficult part for me to watch was the trench warfare.
Yeah.
And that was just so brutally gruesome and real that I honestly, I had to cover my eyes and look away because it was just too much for me to have that printed on my head and relive over and over again. And I'm sure that that's probably very realistic as to what these boys, and they were boys, these were teenage boys fighting this man's war.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely have kind of a little bit of a Saving Private Ryan moment while you're watching these scenes and you're kind of trying to look away, and but it is devastating to watch, but at the same time it feels as though somewhat necessary.
Right.
I don't think this particular battle is one that most Americans know about.
Absolutely not. I had no idea about it. I'm not exactly an historian, but I had no idea that this happened. In the nameless soldiers that have been just scattered along beaches and different places, that their graves will never be marked. And even though the horrors of war occur during this film, you also see a lot of love and hope to balance it out as this father goes on this journey to try and heal, I think.
Absolutely. It definitely is a film about a father's love and that need to do right by your family. That is definitely a theme that's going on. But there's also the other thing that's going on is the fact that it's after World War I and both sides of this war do have a commonality. And I think that you see the sameness with the two sides.
Oh, absolutely. And I think also with all the cultural differences, I mean, there's the Turkish people, the Brits, the Australians, and how, you know, they have a lot of cultural differences, yet as shown by one of the actors, and I will not pronounce his name correctly, but it's Major Hassan, he finds a common boundary as a father with this Aussie who has come to find his sons. They were on opposite sides of the war, yet they come together as being a father.
There is a Persian saying, "May you outlive your children." It sounds like a blessing, but it is the worst curse one can place on the head of a man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the standout role for me was Major Hassan, and the gentleman who played that character did a phenomenal job. I think Russell Crowe did an outstanding job as well. It was interesting to see him as a director, but I thought he did a great job.
I think he did a spectacular job. I think it's very hard to be behind a camera and direct yourself and others. It would be probably monumental, but he did a phenomenal job in capturing that time period as well as directing everybody and getting that emotional impact.
I was told my oldest son was taken prisoner.
So he's alive?
I don't know.
But you have hope.
Hope's a necessity where I come from.
I only had one issue with the film, and that was the last, like, maybe 10 seconds of the film. If they would have cut that, I'd have been a lot happier. And don't give too much away.
I agree. I won't do any spoilers, but there are a couple little scenes that were a little too cute for my taste.
Yeah.
That maybe just a little too perfect. I will say that it is based on a book.
Okay.
And I haven't read the book yet,
Okay.
but this does make me want to not only read the book, but also kind of study a little bit about the Gallipoli
Right.
battle and more of World War I as well.
Right, and I'm sure there are so many other battles out there that we don't have any idea about. But those soldiers, they may be gone, but they won't be forgotten.
That's right.
And that's it for this week's Real Talk, the movie review show you can access anytime and anywhere. Be sure to tune in next week when I have Barbie Brewer-Watson join me to talk about Pitch Perfect 2. You can also access my review on this film in today's paper at thedailyjournal.com. And that's a wrap. Cheers.
Cheers.